Mr. Lincoln has a remarkable background in volunteer work. He's been president of Social Promotions, Taylor Thibodeau, a former president of the Lakeshore Association for the Intellectually Challenged, and has also been a board member of the Quebec Association on Mental Retardation. Mr. Lincoln is on the advisory committee of Seniors Action Quebec. He is chair of Executives Available. Now, that's a nonprofit, and it counsels and retrains people in their job searches very successfully, according to the statistics. Mr. Lincoln, congratulations on that. That's a hard thing when people find themselves suddenly laid off or suddenly in need of finding a job that pays a reasonable income comparable to the income that they've left behind. He's on the board of the Canadian Water Issues Council and is co-founder of a grassroots group, Train de l'Ouest, working towards improved commuter rail service on the western region of Montreal Island. And having been brought up and schooled in Bay d'Urfé, I know what a problem that can be, trying to get into a job that's at 405 Ogilvie Avenue in Park Extension, where the television station was located. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to introduce a man who underlines the very meaning of the word volunteer, Mr. Clifford Lincoln.
I think I share the feeling of all of you here I'd like to say thanks to Bill Hoagland. In many, many ways, he's been the voice of Montreal for many, many of us over the years. And it's so nice that he's involved with us here. Thank you for inviting me. I heard Margaret Healy say that 3 minutes is too much. So I feel very sorry for you. I'm afraid I'm going to speak for a little more than 3 minutes. And first of all, I realized, going from very young to very old, that human nature is full of inherent contradictions. When we are 5 years old, we want to be 15. When we are 15 years old, we want to be 21. When we are 21, we would like to be like our elders, maybe 30, so we can have the first car and a good job. And then when we are 45, we would like to be back to 25. Age is very relative to our own time in life. I recall way back when, because I've forgotten the names of the people there. We were 3 of us in the United States when I was in business. And one of them said to us, he was an aviation expert, and he said, well, I'm going to be preparing to take it easy. I'm now 58. At the time, I was, I think, 30 or 31, and 58 to me was really old age. And I thought, gee, he's 58. And very soon after, the chairman of our board died in Puerto Rico when he was on vacation. He was 61. And I thought to myself, well, he has led a good life, 61 years. And today, when I hear of somebody 61 dying, I think to myself how young he is to be dying. Because today, I have passed 61 by a score of years and more. So to me today, in my old age, a 61 or 65 years old is still very young. Because age is like this. And if I look at the charts of life expectancy, I'm not supposed to be here, I'm supposed to be down there dead. But I'm not dead. Luck has it that my brain is reasonably active. I can still climb stairs and be reasonably fit at my age. So there are two choices. Do I wait for what the charts tell me that I'm supposed to be dead or very near it, and sit back in my armchair and watch TV all day until the inevitable comes? Or do I say, well, I'm still reasonably active. I can still think for myself, have a viewpoint on things. I can still be physically active. So should I use this tremendous blessing that I've been given of being still alive and well, and do something for others around me? So the choice is very easy to make. Of course I would choose the second option. And in looking back, every one of us is inspired by somebody next door who does amazing things that strike us and help us and encourage us to keep going forward. The people we honored here today, and I was reading those bio notes and Bill spoke to them. It's really remarkable what each one of them has done in one field or another, inspiring us, being people for others, changing our communities, changing their world. And in my own life, there have been so many that have inspired me that way, that were much older than me when I met them. I remember when I was Minister of the Environment, Nature Conservancy of Canada sponsored a boat in the Sorel area. We were trying to preserve the 85 islands between Montreal and Sorel, which are historic, ecological, jewels of nature. And in that boat cruise, I met one of the board members of Nature Conservancy from Toronto. He was in his late 80s then, and I started to chat with him. Humble as he was, sitting in a corner, I found out that he was a luminary in his field. His name was Bill Bigelow. And Bill Bigelow had been a surgeon during the war when he was 27 years old. And he had found out, operating soldiers in the field in very, very cold temperatures, that he could operate on them without anesthetic, because there was no anesthetic in the fields. And he could then do so without pain to them. And he came back to Canada with this obsession about hypothermia. That if you could bring the human body into a state of hypothermia, you could then do surgery that otherwise would be impossible. So he devised an amazing scheme. He rented a farm in Collingwood, Ontario, where he gathered 150 groundhogs. And through pipes in the ground, he would observe the groundhogs in hibernation when they are in suspended animation. They still live, but they are inanimate. From this experiment, he gathered that if you could reduce the temperature of the human body from 36 degrees centigrade or thereabouts to 10 degrees, as happened with the groundhogs, you could then do surgery on the heart that had never been done before. So he became one of the great world pioneers of open heart surgery. Gradually, he came to be the creator of the pacemaker. Just this one man, Bill Bigelow. If you add up the millions of people around the world that are living today because of the pacemaker, because of open heart surgery, just one person changing his world in amazing ways. And yet he was so humble. He sent me his book, Cold Hearts, which I treasure. And if you find it in the library, read it.